All right, well, welcome everyone to our Georgia PGA webinar series. Thank you for joining us today. A couple housekeeping items. Um, if you would, just make sure you put yourself on mute, and I'm sure Doug and Kevin will have opportunities for questions at some point. But if you want to have a question, I guess at any point, click on the little hand down there, and you can raise your hand, and they'll get to you when the time is appropriate. But I'll introduce Doug Wert, our career consultant here in the Georgia section, and Kevin Walls, who is our career consultant to the west in Alabama, Northwest Florida, in the Gulf State section, and they're going to give us some great valuable information about the value of yourself and how to make yourself more valuable to your employers. So I will turn it over to Doug and Kevin and let them lead this program.
Well, thanks, everybody. Great opportunity to be with all of you today. We appreciate you joining us as we talk about how to demonstrate more of your value and all, as well as use some of that to negotiate your compensation. I first want to introduce my teammate, Kevin Walls, and let him share a little bit about himself before we get going.
Thanks, Doug. I guess a lot of the Georgia members may remember me. I was career consultant in the Georgia section following Phil Berry for a couple of years. I think probably 13 and 14, probably. So it doesn't seem that long ago, but 10, 11 years ago. And I'm proud to help Doug. Doug's been a great addition to our team and doing very well. And please utilize him. I'm a 33-year member, PGA Master Professional, and being a PGA career consultant now for this is my 17th year, and just love what we do, helping our PGA members each and every day. So looking forward to this presentation today.
Thanks, Kevin. It's great to have you with us. I can share a lot about Kevin and how much he's helped me in my career, and it's just great to have him with us today. So I just want to talk about where we're going today real quick. You can see our agenda there. We've got an hour to share this, and so hopefully get through a number of these things that are very, very helpful to you when it comes to that. But talk about the problems, some key terms for you, how you can understand stakeholders in this when it comes to your value and your negotiating, talking about how you show your value, record your wins, negotiating strategies, determining your value, help, thinking about what you want, and then talk about stages of negotiation, and then how you can, through that, preserve the relationship with your employer or board or whoever it might be that you're working on with this, and then question and answer at the end. And then, the one thing I want to stress when it comes to all of this is that as your employment consultant, I'm here to help you through all of this. And so when things like this happen, I really, really want you to feel welcome and comfortable with calling me and helping you through things like this when we get to that point. So looking forward to sharing all this with you today. First thing is defining the problem that we have, or basically employees, all of us, we definitely want to feel valued. But there are times I feel in learning in my 40 years in the industry and in the business that sometimes we're a little poor at showcasing our value. And I don't, sometimes it may be that we're humble, we're, very good people, and may feel uncomfortable doing that. But I think sometimes there's that problem there where we don't feel like we showcase our value enough, or may not know how to do it. And that's what we want to help with today. Employers on the other side, they need to protect their company, the assets and such, while keeping all of you happy and keeping all the employees happy. And so, this disconnect that we have, coupled with poor communication at times, can often result in unhappy and underpaid employees. The great thing is, I think with COVID, we've seen how the industry's boomed, and Kevin's going to talk about that a little bit next. But we want to help you with some ways to work on all this today.
Some good news to share. Compensation is up The golf industry as a whole has been really good since post-COVID. During the COVID, seen a lot of growth, membership growth, clubs increase in revenue, membership. So additional money is available now to be able to compensate. And we went through some lean years. I mean, since 2009, the year after I started, it was tough to negotiate compensation increases when clubs were losing money, declining memberships. It was a struggle. And so now we've gone through about 3 or 4 years of very, very healthy golf industry for the most part. I would say 90% of our facilities are doing okay. So now is the time to capture the momentum. Like you said, regional compensation is up. So I think you can contribute to that too. We have a lot better compensation data as well, alongside the healthy industry, and also supply and demand, especially the assistants. Assistant salaries are up over between 20 and 25%. And is it helping? Some, but we have more demand than we have supply. And but it has caused the assistant salaries to rise quite a bit, and also the head professionals and director of golf. A lot of that too is talking about supply and demand. We're not having the number of resumes for our management level jobs, head professional, director of golf, general managers, that we once had. So we don't have the members looking to leave. They're happy for the most part. So it just costs them more money to make a good hire these days. So all that is contributing to higher compensations.
And one of the things I just want to throw in there is just to remind all of you to helping you with this is making sure that you're taking the time to spend updating your compensation information for us, because that's information that we do use to help you. Right now in the section, we've got 70% of our members have completed that compensation profile. And if you haven't done so, I really want to encourage you to do that to help us help you more.
It really helps. What we have experienced over the years, the higher the percentage in the section, the better the compensation is. It makes it more valid, but also the numbers increase. You see the higher the participation, from 70 to 75 to 80%, you see the numbers rise too. So it only helps if we get more people participating in the compensation survey. And the good news is the last couple of years, it's live 24/7. You can go in and change it at any time. If you have a little pay increase or something changes with your benefits or employment, you can go in and update it. Where in the past, we gave like a 60-day window, January, February, then we cut it off. So it was set for the next 12 months. So, but now it's live and you can go in and change it. So.
Yeah, and it takes less than 3 minutes to change it. Doesn't
it used to
take
take about 12, 15 minutes to complete it. And it was a lot of redundant questions. And that's one of the goals we had 3 or 4 years ago. Let's make it more user-friendly. We pre-populate it. And we want our members to be able to complete it in 2 or 3 minutes. So make it easier.
Yep. So as I mentioned with you, in our compensation profile, you can see, as I mentioned, we've got 70% of members in the section that have completed the compensation survey. I think that's, a good number, but I would love to get that other 30% involved so that, as Kevin mentioned, we have more accurate numbers as well as higher numbers that are possibilities. So definitely, feel that that's great that we've got that number that helps me help you more. But the more that we can get involved, the better. So let's talk about some key terms that go into what we're talking about today. So stakeholder is basically a person with a concern or interest in something. Anyone who makes a judgment, you as a stakeholder, as well as your owner, your managers, whatever it might be. It's basically anybody that's going to make a judgment regarding the value that you provide, and as well as your members and such there. So value really is the monetary worth of something that you have. Value is subjective and can be determined by your stakeholders. So that value is something that's determined by your owners, your members. If you're at a member-owned club, your board, it is specific to you as an employee and specific to each facility. It's different at each facility, and it depends on the type of facility. And then we're going to talk about negotiation as well. And simply put, that's a discussion that's between different people that gets to a point to where it reaches an agreement. And one of the things that's really important in negotiation, I think all of us know that success is really requires trust and continuous communication between you and the stakeholders, and about that value. And so the agreement that comes together through that negotiation, we need to make sure that we always remember that it's got to benefit both parties involved, both the stakeholders as well as yourself. So, when we look at alignment with the stakeholder, what does success look like for you and your position from their perspective? Looking from them as your supervisor, your owner, your board, what are they looking for in success from you in that position? And then what does success look like in your position from your owner or board's perspective? So I know many of you work at different types of clubs where you've got a supervisor or an owner or a board. So we've got to first look at what does success look like from their perspective. And then what does success look like for you in your position from your team's perspective? And then ultimately, I think really important, what does success look like from your consumer, your member, your daily customers, your daily fee customers? What is it looking at like from their perspective as well? And that really helps us get to the point to where we're aligned with the stakeholders that we're working with in this process. So I'm going to share with you a TED Talk here on knowing your worth.
No one will ever pay you what you're worth. No one will ever pay you what you're worth. They'll only ever pay you what they think you're worth. And you control their thinking. Not like this, although that would be cool. That would be really cool. Instead, like this. Clearly defining and communicating your value are essential to being paid well for your excellence. Anyone here want to be paid well? Okay, good. Then this talk is for everyone. It's got universal applicability. It's true if you're a business owner, if you're an employee, if you're a job seeker. It's true if you're a man or a woman. Now, I approach this today through the lens of the woman business owner, because in my work, I've observed that women underprice more so than men. The gender wage gap is a well-traveled narrative in this country. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a woman employee earns just 83 cents for every dollar a man earns. What may surprise you is that this trend continues even into the entrepreneurial sphere. A woman business owner earns just 80 cents for every dollar a man earns. In my work, I've often heard women express that they're uncomfortable communicating their value, especially early on in business ownership. They say things like, I don't like to toot my own horn. I'd rather let the work speak for itself. I don't like to sing my own praises. I hear very different narratives in working with male business owners. And I think this difference is costing women 20 cents on the dollar. I'd like to tell you the story of a consulting firm that helps their clients dramatically improve the profitability. That company is my company. After my first year in business, I saw the profit increases that my clients were realizing in working with me. And I realized that I needed to reevaluate my pricing. I was really underpriced relative to the value I was delivering. That's hard for me to admit to you because I'm a pricing consultant. It's what I do. I help companies price for value. But nonetheless, it's what I saw, and so I sat down to evaluate my pricing, evaluate my value. And I did that by asking key value questions. What are my clients' needs and how do I meet them? What is my unique skill set that makes me better qualified to serve my clients? What do I do that no one else does? What problems do I solve for clients? What value do I add? I answered these questions and defined the value that my clients get from working with me, calculated their return on investment, and what I saw is that I needed to double my price. Double it. Now I confess to you that this terrified me. I'm supposed to be the expert in this, but I'm not cured. I knew the value was there. I was convinced the value was there, and I was still scared out of my wits. What if nobody would pay me that? What if clients said, that's ridiculous? You're ridiculous. Was I really worth that? Not my work, mind you, but me. Was I worth that? I'm the mother of 2 beautiful little girls who depend upon me. I'm a single mom. What if my business fails? What if I fail? But I know how to take my own medicine. The medicine that I prescribe to my clients. I had done the homework. I knew the value was there. So when prospects came, I prepared the proposals with the new higher pricing and sent them out and communicated the value. How's the story end? Clients continued to hire me and refer me and recommend me, and I'm still here. And I share the story because doubts and fears are natural and normal, but they don't define our value, and they shouldn't limit our earning potential. I'd like to share another story about a woman who learned to communicate her value and found her own voice. She runs a successful web development company and employs several people. When she first started her firm, and for several years thereafter, she would say, I have a little web design company. She'd actually use those words with clients. I have a little web design company. In this and in many other small ways, she was diminishing her company in the eyes of prospects and clients, and diminishing herself. It was really impacting her ability to earn what she was worth. I believe her language and her style communicated that she didn't believe she had much value to offer. In her own words, she was practically giving her services away. And so she began her journey to take responsibility for communicating value to clients and changing her message. One thing I shared with her is that it's so important to find your own voice, a voice that's authentic and true to you. Don't try to channel your sister-in-law just because she's a great salesperson or your neighbor who tells a great joke if that's not who you are. Give up this notion that it's tooting your own horn. Make it about the other party. Focus on serving and adding value, and it won't feel like bragging. What do you love about what you do? What excites you about the work that you do? If you connect with that, communicating your value will come naturally. So she embraced her natural style, found her voice, and changed her message. For one thing, she stopped calling herself a little web design company. She really found a lot of strength and power in communicating her message. She's now charging 3 times as much for web design, and her business is growing. She told me about a recent meeting with a gruff and sometimes difficult client who'd called a meeting questioning progress on search engine optimization. She said in the old days that would have been a really intimidating meeting for her, but her mindset was different. She said she prepared the information, sat down with the client, said, this isn't about me, it's not personal, it's about the client. She took them through the data, through the numbers, laid out the trends and the progress in her own voice and in her own way, but very directly said, here's what we've done for you. The client sat up and took notice and said, okay, I got it. And she said in describing that meeting, I didn't feel scared or panicky or small, which is how I used to feel. Instead, I feel like, okay, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm confident. Being properly valued is so important. And you can hear in this story that the implications range far beyond just finances into the realm of self-respect and self-confidence. Today I've told two stories, one about defining our value and the other about communicating our value. And these are the two elements to realizing our full earning potential. That's the equation. And if you're sitting in the audience today and you're not being paid what you're worth, I'd like to welcome you into this equation. Just imagine what life could be like, how much more we could do, how much more we could give back, how much more we could plan for the future, how validated and respected we would feel if we could earn our full potential, realize our full value. No one will ever pay you what you're worth. They'll only ever pay you what they think you're worth. And you control their thinking. Thank you.
As Doug reiterated a few seconds ago, you got to understand who your stakeholders are. We have a lot of different facilities, different types of ownerships. So you got to understand customers versus guests, members. So it's very important to align with your employer, your stakeholder, to understand your mission, their mission. Where do you come in to bring the best value for the facility? What do they hire you for? What makes you successful to the employer, to the facility? And when you understand, your employers understand what value you bring, and you properly communicate it, and that's when compensation usually meets expectations. So we talk about properly communicating. This is I guess in our role as a career consultant, most issues are caused by poor communication, especially when golf professionals lose their position. That's when we come in, we meet with the member or talk to the member, and we also talk to the employer as a follow-up. And I want to say 8 out of 10 times that job could have been saved, and that golf professional probably could have been successful if there was proper communication between the employer and the golf professional. So many times the golf professional said, I thought I was doing a great job and I didn't understand this, or the employer said, well, we asked this golf professional, he or she, to do these things, and the expectation were these things, and never could get them to do it. But they never did meet to discuss these things, and neither one of them understood each other. So if they were properly communicated, those jobs usually could have been saved. We used to have a resource on back in the old PGA links called the PGA Professional Report. It was a template that the PGA provided that you could go in every month and put in your monthly or weekly accomplishments for you and your staff, what you accomplished that month as a golf operation. You could present it to your employer, and you could you could keep those for end of the year reviews. We went converted over to pj.org. I think they took them off, but participation, there's never many clicks to it or downloads, but it was a great tool. Looking back, I used to do this back when I worked for a management company. I did just about a weekly report, because one thing employers, owners, boards, one thing they do not like is surprises. They want to be kept up to date, no surprises at the end of the month. So demonstrating your value, what you and your staff, golf operations have accomplished, achieved, goes a long way. So if anybody's interested, I think I have some old copies of those professional reports. You can easily do those yourself, but main thing is just, providing great accomplishments, revenue, participation, and service, maybe some quotes. And also another thing that I learned a long time ago in my career in the green grass is provide variance reports on my budgeting and financials. Again, nobody likes surprises. When you're come in over budget in certain items, you may have a great explanation. You may have fertilize scheduled for April for say $25,000, but you brought it in March for $18,000 because you got it 20% cheaper through the vendor, some kind of promotion. So yeah, your budget in March financials are going to be over budget, but if you're able to explain that in a variance report that, hey, my fertilizer and chemical budget is going to be over budget by $17,000, but we're going to correct ourselves because we had it budgeted in May for 25,000. So we're actually going to save $7,000. We're bringing it in early. Hey, that's no surprise. But when they sit there and see that $17,000 over budget, a lot of times it's shock and causes some shock waves. And another thing that I see that far as demonstrating the value too is we have a lot of our members that do not attend board meetings. Maybe you're not allowed to, but if you have the opportunity to go to represent you and your staff and department, I highly encourage. I remember back when I was a head golf professional, I would get phone calls at 10 o'clock at night after a board meeting. There's items gotten brought up during the board meeting about something. If I was there, I could easily explain why or what happened. But when you're not there, a lot of times there's a lot of miscommunication what might have happened. So that starts getting rumors and things started. So properly communicate. Can't stress it enough. Doug, you got anything to add on that?
I can't agree more. I think too, it's a matter of documenting your accomplishments. And, as I review documentation for many of you, resumes, cover letters, whatever it might be, you document those achievements and things that you've done so that you can use those when you're getting ready to look at something different possibly, but also having things to share with your employer when it comes to review time and things like that, to be able to communicate those achievements that you've had.
And you just got to define your return on investment. They investing a lot of money in you and your staff, and they want to make sure they get a return on investment. They getting fair rate of employment from you. And also you want to define what your industry expertise is, what you can provide, what's your skill set, what's your experience, and how you can help the facility be better for you, for the membership and customers. Again, you just got to be able to communicate it. You got to have that mutual understanding, where you fit in, what are you there for, and gain that appreciation. And like I said, you're negotiating every day. You're auditioning every day for that next job, but also you're negotiating every day at your current job by providing and communicating your value to the employer. So how are we going to do this? How are we going to define and communicate your value? We're going to go back. This is what we talked about. Record your wins. As Doug said, we start reviewing a lot of resumes, and you see the white window on the right, director of golf. We see a lot of this. This is not highlighting a whole lot of accomplishments. Manage entire golf department, manage golf league, provide group and individual lessons, and manage the daily tee sheet. That's more like a job description. When you send a resume out to an employer, if they're looking at these bullet points, it's not really telling them a whole lot. You're supposed to be doing these things. This is just a basic job description that you'll find under any director of golf. So you want employers, they really like to see numbers and accomplishments. So the quote on the left is a lot more eye-opening, gains a lot more traction, a lot more attention. Assistant management of golf shop merchandise operation that was recognized as 2016 section merchandise of the year, generating annual revenues of $465,000 while maintaining total cost of goods at 58%. So you had several numbers in there that's eye-catching, and you proved it. You just didn't list that you're over the merchandise operation. You proved what you can do, what you have accomplished. So always put it in the verbiage. Always add numbers and percentages as you can, because those numbers and percentages stand out, and they will remember that during the process, during the hiring process. So.
Yeah, and I just to add on there, some of the words that you see in that statement, like generating, assisting, Those are kind of the words that pop out at an employer when you're talking about these things. Those kind of words that accentuate what you've been able to do.
Yeah, more action verbs. Look on the right, they use the same word manage 3 times out of the 7 bullet points. So you don't want to use the same word like manage, responsible. You don't want to duplicate them if you can avoid it. So record your wins. Verbiage is key. Represented the golf department on a membership team, which helped grow active membership. Again, you proved it that you were able to do it and had the skill set to do it. 85% in 4 years. That's eye-catching. So it needs to matter to the facility. A lot of times we see, like on your reports or resumes, your bullet points is all about you. A lot of times about your playing. If they're looking for somebody strong in operations or member service and you have a lot of playing accomplishments on your bullet points, that's not going to really resonate with the employer. That's not what they're looking for. You may have a lot about your teaching, how many lessons you're giving, how much revenue that you're making, but not how much you're providing to the facility. You're making a lot of money, but how does that relate to, are you growing the game? Are more people playing golf? You doing more golf programs that's generating more membership, more juniors coming out to the golf course? Those are the type of verbiage, not how many lessons you're giving, because they just talk about how much money you put in your own pocket, but be able to flip that and showcase how much additional revenue, more participation, more members to the facility, then that stakeholder is going to be able to recognize that more and recognize your value. And Doug can probably see that a lot in his player development career. Our professionals failed miserably communicating those revenue generators, for sure.
Yep. I think that's one thing when I was in player engagement that I worked very hard with our coaches in player engagement, that they were making sure that they were tracking how much additional revenue was coming from programs like PGA Junior League, things like that, to the facility. And we even had tools. We have tools available for you to use in player engagement to where you can go back and track that amount and be able to share that with an employer. So that's just one example of ways that you can do that. And I agree with Kevin when it talks about things I see on resumes, all the talk about instruction. And I've even heard it from employers looking for assistants that, this person has talked all about instruction, but not about other things that they can bring to my facility. So I think it's important to remember all of that.
And yeah, ideas to showcase and grow your value. We talk about increasing, have different programs and also increase revenues for your club, like far as player development programs, junior golf leagues. But you need to build a relationship with your player engagement. They have all kind of tools and resources to help you with these programs. But like Doug just got through saying, they have a lot of resources to reports and templates, be able to show you how to showcase how much revenue, like a revenue scorecard. Also, travel. If you travel with your members, you become so much stronger with those particular members, but also they'll come back and make a lot of great comments about you and how much they enjoy being with you. So you just become that much more popular around the club. And I cannot stress being visible. We have so many golf professionals. I know that a lot more responsibilities these days. They just locked up in their office and not very visible. And especially during the key times during the day, you need to learn to dictate your time, dedicate yourself to be out and be visible when the members are there during the high traffic. I wrote a story one time about the golden retriever and the goldfish. We've had golden retrievers for years, and if we ever lose a golden retriever, it passes away. It's just detrimental to the family. It's like losing a family member, the kids, the grandkids, and because they're so lovable and you get so close to them. But the story was, if you have a goldfish, most cases you don't even name a goldfish. You never get to know the goldfish because there's no personality. When a goldfish dies, most time you just flush it down the toilet or throw it away, and you don't lose any sleep over it. So there's a lot about our golf professionals. If they're not out in front and not engaging with our members don't get to know them, and you don't build that bond with them. So very, very important to be seen. I always try to make it a point to have lunch or something with our superintendent and tennis professional and other leaders around the club, just to be seen and in front of your members, like big team effort. But also leadership also means being involved in your section or chapters. And also we have a lot of our PGA members that do not showcase or show their employers or clubs about their lifelong learning, continuing education with the CMAA or the PGA certification or master professional program, or other certification with Allied, or you taking some college courses. Just something to grow and get better every year. Highlight those, report those, and communicate that upwards. What you're doing to improve. Not only you may have your assistants and your staff every year too, and how they're progressing through the PGA Associate Program. I think it's very, very important to communicate that your staff is growing. There's no finish line. Everybody's getting better and trying to improve the club. So demonstrate that value.
So when it comes to, working on telling your story, this is one of the things that I talked about earlier, and updating your resume, is think about things, keep the receipts, take pictures, get in the habit of asking for feedback from your employer, from your members, from those around you, to tell your story. That's the big thing that, I want to share when it comes to your resume, is that this is your story. This is your initial story that you're going to share with a potential employer. Plus, also keeping this information in your current job helps you tell your story to your current employer. But always remember, less is more. Use multiple reports if you need to. Highlight your biggest wins when that happens. What were your biggest wins in this particular role? And then what I've learned over the years, I think that's even more important, are the testimonials that you generate from those around you, your members, your staff, and how you've done with your staff as a leader. Let them tell the story as well for you and help you with that. Could be letters of recommendation. It could be just talking to your employer. Let your members at your private club, tell your story to your board, to your GM, to your leadership. Use them to help you share testimonials about what you've been able to accomplish. And when it comes to negotiation, I love this quote from Dale Carnegie. The art of dealing with people is to see how the world is occurring for someone else. See the world through their eyes and start from there. So as you're working on your negotiations, but also sharing your value, think about how others see you and what that value is. If it's not there, start thinking about, how can I create more value? What can I do to add value to what I'm doing at my facility? Could it be a player engagement program? PGA Junior League? Can you create more community at your facility by participating in PGA Junior League or other player engagement programs? And then see the world through your consumer's eyes and start from there, and how you can share your value when you're negotiating. Kevin?
Yep. Here's some questions to consider when you starting a negotiation. What do you really want? In the past, money was very, very important, still is. But in the last few years, money is not everything to a lot of our members. And sometimes they just want a title, go from head pro to director of golf, or or go to be a general manager. But today we're seeing a lot of work-life balance. People want more time, have some quality time with their family, maybe one weekend off, watch your children play or sports, or just have more time off to be with family, not working the 70 hours a week. And sometimes it's, hey, I need more staff. It's not about me. I'm fairly compensated. I'll take whatever you give me, but I need more additional money. I really have more additional money for my staff. That way I can take more time off if I have more staff or capable staff. And a lot of times it's more benefits. You know, somebody that's long tenured, they may be looking, hey, another 5 to 10 years before they move on. They don't want to move. They may be looking at some type of 401k or a yearly retirement retainer deal, like what they call the golden parachute deal, for the try to prepare. If both sides are happy, both know each other's value, neither's going anywhere. A lot of times we see in that. But like I said, right now, in the last 3 or 4 years, we are able to increase both compensation and benefits. So how do you determine your value in the marketplace? So obviously we have great compensation data. You know, get with us, the consultants, and we can prepare regional section compensation. And we pretty much know what the market conditions are. We can get pretty close and know what the going rates are. We can help you. Recently, this week, I have a golf professional just completing his 3rd year. His new contract's coming up. He's trying to renegotiate. They asked him to come back with some information to the board to consider. And I just reached out I picked out 7 or 8 clubs in 3 or 4 sections that were the high-end private. And we targeted the best target for him to be able to make more money would be in merchandise. We felt like his merchandise incentives clause in his contract was very low compared to other ones. And I reached out to 7 or 8, asked what their merchandise incentive clause was, what percentage they got. None of them owned the shop, the ones I reached out, and was able to reword that and present that to the board. So hopefully he'll see a big increase in his merchandising. As far as stages, you know, you got to have a strong opening. One second, I got a dog. Doug, you want to take this? I have dog barking. Somebody's walked the doors.
Sorry, but so, you know, when you look at stages of a negotiation, you got to have a strong opening. You got to have a comfortable opening, you know, when going to your employer to talk to them about it. And once again, this could be at a time of contract negotiation when you're up for a new contract, or maybe at your review, you know, or some things have changed in your position and what you're doing. So have a way to open it up to where, for me, it would be something where this is, you know, let's talk about how this is going to be beneficial for both of us and everyone involved. And then have information ready, get help from myself and other career consultants if you want. We all work as a team to help you. But have some things ready, presentation and a dialogue, and open up the dialogue with your employer to do that. And then, you know, when it comes to the, you know, final stage, it's asking and being able to ask based upon the information that you've shared, information that we've provided to help you. And of course, you're most likely going to get objections. And so how am I going to be able to handle those objections when it comes to that, when they start asking questions about this? But think about how you best demonstrate honesty and transparency and working towards what we really want at the end of this negotiation. And that is a win-win. Think about it being, you know, when you're negotiating, make sure you have that in your mind, that you want this to be a win for you and a win for them. And then always making sure as you're going through the negotiating process that you're preserving the relationship that you have with your employer or your board.
Yeah. The last thing you want to do is tarnish a relationship, cause more harm. But like I said, win-win. I'll go in, try to make both sides both sides happy. Another thing I forgot, we talk about increase. It's not always about compensation. Like I said, time, benefits. Don't forget about Golf Retirement Plus either. PGA Golf Retirement Plus is another benefit that we see that's out there, and a lot of our members. I know a lot of facilities will not allow their PGA members to participate, but if that golf professional doesn't get it, nobody gets it. The club doesn't get it; just nobody gets it. So that's sort of a hidden benefit that the golf professional, or even the golf professional and the staff, can all split it. So it's out there, and take advantage of it if you can. So yeah, going back, what do you want? Do you want more salary? You want more of a performance bonus over the year, or commissions? Like I said, commissions is always, I guess, the easiest target because it's a win-win. If you sell more merchandise, or you recruit more members, retain more members, go out and work and recruit more outings, bring in more revenue, that's win-win. So commissions, incentives are most of the time is the first target that we look at as the first opportunity to grow compensation, especially if the clubs sort of got tight purse strings, or you feel like it may not be the best time to go in and try to negotiate just a salary increase. Also, deferred compensation, like I talked about earlier, especially if you don't feel like you're going anywhere. This is where you want to be to finish out your career. You can negotiate some type of yearly retaining bonus for every year you stay. I have 3 or 4 golf professionals in my section. They're not going anywhere. They got great jobs. They're happy. Spouse is happy. Family is happy. They're not moving. So some of those facilities have created a golden parachute where every year they stay, they get an increase in there, like a 401k. So, but again, we're seeing a lot of things, not monetarily, just extra vacation, extra PTO, weekends, more family time. Seeing clubs giving more family privileges now, memberships to the family, and education, tournament allowances, cell phone allowance. A lot more open to benefits these days. So don't forget about the benefits. We often forget about that when we start negotiating.
And I think I know a lot of employers right now, head professionals, directors of golf, are struggling with finding assistant professionals, paying assistant professionals, what we could do. I think thinking about some of that direct compensation, some of the commissions, things like that, if you can work out some of that for your assistants as well, it gets them extra compensation, but it also motivates them to work harder for you and for your club, your membership.
Yeah. As far as also assistants, recruiting and retaining assistants, we had a discussion at a CMAA seminar last year. A lot of clubs, assistants, a lot of times they still on the parents' insurance. Insurance may not be important. It's always important, but to the younger ones, they feel like they're bulletproof, right? They don't see the value in health insurance when they're 23, 24, 25 years old, but they struggle with housing, and they still may have some college student loans. So you might be able to offset some of that as, hey, if you don't want health insurance, you can waive it. We take the same amount of money and return it to you, help paying your college student loans or housing. I know when I had Nashville, had a Tennessee section, it was, even though Nashville is a very popular relocation, it's very, very expensive to live. It's hard to get anything nice under $1,600 a month, probably. So that's pretty tough when the assistant's making $35,000, $40,000. So a lot of times I'm not so concerned about having a health insurance. I'd rather have that extra money to help pay for housing or something else. So think about some of those, negotiating. peer compensation. What are other PGA members at comparable positions and comparable facilities making? Like I said, we cannot go in and look because it is confidential. We can't see what anybody's looking, but we can always pick out 7 or 8 facilities. And Doug and I and all the consultants, we usually have a relationship that where we can go out and reach out to them, just like I did this week with the PGA member. I can go out and say, hey, can you tell me what your merchandise incentives are? What are you looking at? Most of them will tell me what they make, and I pretty much know. So we can be able to reach out to some and be able to get some comparable. And we know what new jobs are going for. So we can usually do some kind of a customized compensation data for you to use. But our compensation data, like I said, we have a higher participation. It's 24/7, but usually it's a year old. What you put in now is what you made last year. It's not current. And like I said, also the bad thing is you go out to your peers, they may be underpaid too. They've been there for several years. They may not have been getting the increases that they probably should have been getting either. They just may be getting like 2 or 3% cost of living. But what we see in now, like I said, supply and demand, our salaries have increased quite a bit. Doug, what's our data? We on the executive search jobs, we did about 150 executive search jobs last year. We were able to increase compensation 22% on the executive search, where we were involved in the filtering, hiring, recruiting of candidates for those jobs. And all the jobs that were filled that consultants helped out on was 11% increase over what the previous professional made. So we pretty much know what the marketplace looks like on compensation. So we can always help prepare some good solid data for you.
And I can share with everybody in the Georgia section with the number of positions that we've filled so far just in 2024, January, February, March, and so on. The positions that we've been able to fill, we've seen an increase of $75,000 in total compensation in those positions that we filled in Georgia just in the first 3 months of this year. And a lot of that has come from the compensation information that everybody puts in. I've been able to use that to help employers when it comes to talking about what to pay, for the position, as well as helping those that are looking at the positions and being able to negotiate for the right pay when they're looking at the jobs. So
I think overall increase last year in 2023 that the consultants were involved in was what, around 12 million, I believe.
12 million. Yes, 12 million. Yep.
Yeah. I think the first quarter we were already at 3.7 or something like that. So for this year, on increases that we've assisted. So a lot of success stories.
Definitely. Yep. So, also when determining your value, we're going to look at market conditions. You need to look at market conditions. What is compensation for comparable open jobs at peer facilities? So we look at that to help you with that. But, you also can do that too by looking at open jobs at similar facilities. But there's a lot of variables to remember that go into compensation for new jobs as well, and all the different ways that facilities can compensate you based upon things that you're going to be doing. But what's really great is in 2023, people that got hired, new hires, 11% higher compensation than the previous professionals. So always looking at the market conditions that within the position you're looking at or your position currently, and that's where we can help you as well. So also when it comes to negotiation and talking about determining your value and negotiating with your club is you might talk about replacement costs. What would the club expect to pay for a replacement if I were to leave. And what's good about this is future oriented. And a lot of times, as you talk about this with your employers, it's definitely eye-opening to them to see and think about, okay, what's it going to cost you if you have to replace me with someone right now? In new hires in 2023, 22% higher compensation when we as career consultants were involved with the search. And that's, using executive search as well as our advanced search, but really getting us involved so that we can help you with that. But remember replacement costs when talking to them in your negotiations and what that's going to cost them.
Yep.
Kevin?
Yeah. Stage one, opening up for negotiation. What do you do? I say you got to set the table. And the first thing you got to do is you got to get the vibe in the room. You got to get the temperature of who you're meeting with, whether it's a general manager, the owner, or the board, committee chair. You got to get the temperature. You don't want to go on a bad day. if he or she are having a bad day, you just got to get the room temperature, make sure the environment is good. But ask a lot of questions and just try to be curious, get their opinion, see how the club or facility stands, what's the game plan going forward. Just try to get some insights. What's each other's motives? Where do you want to go? And try to set some common ground and try to get to that win-win. When you feel like you're set the stage, you set the table, and you're getting close to where you're a win-win, that's when you'll be able to start asking what the employer wants in the negotiation and provide the information that you have. Like we've already told you, if you got the information to back it up, so you need to have it. You need to have information to back it up, but also you got to understand what they're looking for and what you're looking for, and that way you can meet in the middle and make it a win-win situation. And like I said, then stage two, now's the time to present your facts and the data that you have. If you have those 12 monthly professional reports, you get your compensation data, the market peer conditions, and what it would cost to replace. Like I said, the executive search, you're paying $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 for the PGA, and other third parties may charge $30,000, $40,000. So if the club wants to do an executive search, they got those costs. And the facility also may have 2 or 3 months without a leader, somebody not in your position. So the facility and operations may suffer as well. So then you roll in the dice, making sure you pick the right person. If they're happy with you, really don't want you to leave, they're taking a chance on the next person coming in too, whether they're the right fit or not. So it's always great if everybody's happy to make sure that so like I said, it's a win-win for both parties and make this a successful negotiation. But more questions is, what's the employer expect from you going forward? If we sit there and negotiate and increase your compensation and benefits, what's their expectations? They may be expecting more of you. They may expect some different or some new items from you that you haven't been doing in the past. So, because like I said, the golf industry is changing. A good example is you see a lot of golf professionals now building, golf facilities, building short game areas, or building teaching facilities. So your role may change in what you're going to be able to provide. You might be able to give it more lessons, and maybe bringing in a director of instruction, a teaching professional. So a lot of things may be changing because just the way the golf industry and amenities and what the members and customers are wanting and demanding. So just be expecting, what are they looking for in you going forward? But also they need to know what you're expecting, how you going to improve, what resources I need to get better for me and my staff. Best time to ask that is in negotiation. So for me to get better, for my staff to get better, improve, make the facility better, here are some tools and resources I need, or this is maybe some education that I need for next year. to become certified in certain areas to be better. But time to make the ask based on all the facts and answers to your questions and what you want and what the employer wants. Be specific, be clear, but also you might be expected to allow some time for them to consider their response. But listen, timing is everything. You got to understand when's the best time. When's the club performing? You may not want to go during the off season when revenue's down, but also you don't want to wait till the new budget comes out either. One of the worst times to go and when the budget's approved and you want to come in and they've already budgeted for salaries and compensation for the following year. You come in and want a big raise. The response is, I don't have it in the budget. So you waited at the wrong time. You need to go in 2 or 3 months before the new budget comes out so they can budget for those things, be prepared. So obviously some of the excuses or handling objection is not in the budget. I can only offer you a smaller pay raise than what you're really wanting. May have to wait a few months. And again, we only give raises at the end of the year during performance evaluations or for the budget cycle. So, but always ask, can I come back? Can we set a time to come back and revisit this? And don't let your guard down and make them commit that you can come back in 2 months, 3 months, 90 days, and we can revisit. But within that time, I want to show you what I can do, demonstrate my value in the next 60 to 90 days before we have our next visit to see if anything has changed.
Then when it comes to closing the negotiation, make sure you reiterate back to them your commitment to their needs, and you're there to, you're committed to the job, you're committed to the needs of the employer, to your membership, to everybody there. Reiterate the value that you're bringing. Remind them more of the wins that you've had, and then remind them there's more wins coming. Think about the future and what's going to happen in the future. Share what you'll do in conclusion. Both parties work with your employer to have a plan for follow-up, as Kevin mentioned. Can I come back in a few days to talk more about this? And then preserve the relationship. The winning negotiation, really cannot come at the expense of the relationship with your employer, your board, your general manager, whatever it might be. So work hard to preserve that relationship throughout the whole process. That's my feeling. And then remember, you've got a whole group of career consultants around the country that can help you. We all work as a team. We're here to work together with you. As Kevin and I are with you both of us with you today. We work hard as a team around the country to help everybody. And that's what I've loved about joining this team, is how much we work together and help each other to ultimately help you as our membership.
Yeah, we're not territorial at all. We, over the years, I have covered 6 or 7 sections and only down to 2 sections now, but I have members calling me from all over the country that I've built relationships, networking over the years, and that's fine. We all here to help all our members. So, so we don't feel bad about reaching out to any of us.
And every single one of the people on this map right here loves what they do and loves serving our membership, and it's important to them. So, any questions real quick? I know we're at time, Scott, but just want to see if there were any quick questions. Well, I want to thank Kevin too for joining me and helping with that today. And if you do have any questions, there's our information there. You can reach out and we can talk personally when you have time.
Thanks, everyone.
Great work, gentlemen. Thank you all for your support in doing this. We appreciate it very much, and hope everybody got some great valuable information out of this. And always remember, be a golden retriever, not a goldfish. I love it. So thank you, guys.